This is not a quick speed shop. Check it out. Bam! I'm rebuilding this floor structure in the Ford Boogie van. I got some brace action going. I'm putting the footwell back together. Getting this thing ready to fab this floor action up so we can actually start having fun building the van. Come on, check the video out. We're starting right now. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. I'm out back here. Let's go look for some parts. I got this 82 E350 box truck here. It's got a 351 Windsor with a probably C4, C6 in it. And it's derelict. I got a bunch of sheet metal in the box, but I think it's going to be some good parts for the van project. What I want to look at is parts for that floor. So I moved some stuff so I can actually get into it. Let's open this up and see what we got here. This is what I'm looking for, is this piece here. And maybe, oh, the floor appears to be severely rotted here. Oh, dang it. This thing is rustier than I remembered it being. I want to see if I could saw all this out and transplant it in the van, but not looking good here. Got rot in the seams. Oh, got a hole right through here. That's not looking good. It's got a brace that goes through here, which, judging by this, is probably missing. And it's got some of the floor in here, but this has been wet and nasty. Oh, the carpet's junk. Oh yeah, let's see what we got. Oh. Oh yeah. Not good, bro. Not good. Ah yeah, this is junk. Alright, so maybe the part under the seat itself might be alright, but that's pretty much flat sheet metal. I'm not going to take the time to cut all this out. I can make this. It won't have these dimples in it. It'll just be flat. But I can make this piece up and tie back into mine. I will take this off because the one in my van's cut up. So I'll get that out of there. Fortunately, this is shot. So too rotten to use, I guess. I was hoping I could cut that out and use it, but. Oh, that actually has a taper to it too. Look at that. It's that tall there and it goes up there. That brace comes across. So I can get some dimensions off this. At least that'll help me out there. I can measure and see where I got to make it. And I'll just have to make all new sheet metal. I've got some 18 gauge. I'll bend it up. We'll make some new pieces there. But I thought I was going to come in good and have a piece of stuff, but apparently not. Uh-oh. Now the door won't close. What happened? There we go. One thing this does have, where is it here? If you remember when I took the grill apart in the van, this piece was rotted out in my van. It looks like it's good here, so I'll be cutting this piece out and patching my van up with that. But other than that, I guess it's not good. I pulled some other pieces off it already. Got some trim pieces off I used, so it's not a total waste. So I got the dash out of it, and I was going to use the steering column if I had to, but I've got another one. So we'll go back inside and we'll work on that van again and go from there. Okay, after a little bit thinking about some more, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this piece out here that I need to make that. It's got the proper taper and all that. The floor looks like it's halfway solid back, but this brace is pretty rotted and it's rotted up here. I'd have to replace most of this floor. The only good section would be back here, but I can make that out of flat sheet metal and do my own B-roll in it. So I'm going to attempt to saw this out. I'm going to cut it across here and then rip up through the floor and then probably down through this angle here where it's rotted here and across here and get this whole footwell out of here, and then hopefully I'll be able to use pieces of it in the gray van. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Bam. Perfect. You can see where the front body mount used to go through this piece here. That's collapsed a little bit. But here I got my seat mounts. I mean, this is shot probably way up into here. And then this is that round curve mount that I'm cutting off. My van's cut off down here. So I got to rebuild all this, which I'll do with a brace. But I can just make a new straight brace through here and tie in back over here where it goes on my van. And then, or the gray van. And then I'll just remake this. It's probably really not worth trying to cut it out and piece it back together, because I'd have to do a lot of cutting with the bracing and on both the body mounts and stuff, so that's probably a little harder than it looks. But you can see that this was pretty rotted here, rotted all the way out there. But at least I got that sill piece out of there, so better than nothing. Alright, so I brought the rocker inside here, and I've removed the footwell here. I drilled out all the spot welds on it, which this one had a ton of them, and I'll show you how I did that, because I'm going to do the same thing on the piece on the inside. The lip right over around the floor had a little bit of rust in it, so it's a little thin up here, but I got some metal to weld on. And then it had a wider flange. I trimmed that down because of the rust and the spot welds up on top. But I got this piece cut out. Here in the van, you can see the same piece. Now this has far fewer spot welds, so they changed their spot welding procedure somewhere between 1982 and 1986. But I've drilled a center hole, 1/8" center hole in all of them, and I've got a cutter here. This is a rotobroach cutter. It's for drilling holes, but you can always use it for spot welds and stuff. So I've drilled a hole for the center punch, and this cutter will go right in here and it'll cut around the spot weld, and I'll be able to remove this. And I also cut this here. This piece is rusted on the blue one. So if I made a preliminary cut, this is going to lay in here, and then it'll re-spot weld down to the rocker panel here, and I will butt weld this. And this piece was rusted here, so I'll rebuild this in new sheet metal. But it gives me the shape I need. It'll weld right back in here into place, and then I'll have my line established where the floor goes, and it'll have factory action. To be it's a lot easier to do this than it would be to replicate all this stuff and try to weld 15 pieces together, because I would have had to weld on the seam or straighten it out or whatever. So I'm just going to weld that piece right in here, and we'll be good to go. Okay, you just saw that, drilling out them welds, and I popped it off with they popped right off real easy. I've ground all the welds down and cleaned up the metal edge, so the new old piece will go right in place of the existing one, like that. And I'll just clamp it down and I'll spot weld it. This looks like it's about 20 gauge steel, so I got to be careful. The rocker might be a little bit thicker, but this looks like 20 gauge. But it'll go right back in. It's got, you can see this one, like I said, it's got a ton more spot welds than the 88, so they must have changed their welding procedure a little bit. But it's ready to go. I'm not going to put it in yet. I want to get the braces going here first. So the first thing I'm going to do is build this main cross member. I'm going to make it out of a piece of rectangular steel tubing, like 1/8" wall. And it's going to slip inside here, and I'll stitch weld it around, and it'll come back up in here, and it'll sit right under this and tie in. Then I can build this brace back up here, which was pretty much a pocket. This is a body mount hole. I'll have to measure, make sure that the body mount biscuit fits in here. It should. I think that's straight across on the original van. Then I got this brace here, which will come up at an angle, which will match the sill plate here. And it'll come up at an angle, and it'll tie into this brace here. Then we'll pretty much have this thing braced out. This brace here came over somehow, and I think must have tied into this. I'm going to make that just kind of out of whatever to match that. Just put a little bit of brace action in there. But I'll get the braces all fabbed up and stuck in here, and then piece the sheet metal back in, and then I can remove this custom action they put in that holds the floor up. But I definitely want to get this welded in here and to brace the floor before I cut any of this out of here. Looks like I got a little bit of twisting action going on here with this. That looks pulled up a little bit. I'll flatten that out, but it shouldn't be too bad to figure this out. Now that we got that piece ready to go in there, it's going to be as the tricky part. And I'll just piece this corner in of a little bit of new sheet metal, and we'll be filling this hole in. So that's a win. So let me get on getting a piece for that brace, and we'll get that going. Okay, I got the first piece of the main brace made here. I'm using a piece of tubing that slips right inside it pretty much. It's a little bit shy. I'm going to make a piece on the bottom to fill in the gap, but this will be strong enough here. This is, what is it? It's 3 inches wide. It's 2 by 3. What I really needed was a piece of 3 by 3, and I don't have any. So this 2 by 3 will work. I'll just make a little gusset here. You can see on the bottom where it is, I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't quite filled in all the way. I'll just gusset that in up here. This will be plenty strong enough for what we're doing. Then weld it in here. I'm going to build all this pocket. This is all going to be one big brace here. And then there's going to be a brace out of this one that comes up here, and that's the same angle of as the sill pocket here. I'm going to go ahead and, this is all ready. I got it all cleaned up with a grinder and cleaned up my metal. I'm going to go ahead and tack this in, get this welded in, and then I've got some like 2.5 by 2.5 or something like that that fits this brace. I'll clean this up and get this brace made in here, and then probably build this outside section of floor, and then work from the outside in. So I'll get this welded up in there, and then probably actually be smart to build this part down here where I can still move around. But I'll fire up the welder and make some sparks. All right, here we go, playa. I'm talking G5. Here we go. Nice. Get it. That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, she spattery. Spatter. It's nice. Welding upside down, my favorite thing. Okay, so I've been at this for over an hour. I'm making my boxing piece here, and it's going to end up being multiple pieces by the time I do the step and all that. But this is a complicated piece to make because, I'll show you why. My upper brace piece I made here isn't as wide as the bottom piece, so I've got to put a taper in this thing, and I've got a shadow, but I got to come over here. I got tapers and curves. I've got a complicated curve here, which has a little bit of curve to the front, and these wide curves here, which I don't have a good way to bend, so I had to bend a tighter curve, then slice it a little bit, and I'm just going to have to hammer form it around with the welder. And I'm trying to make it fit. So I've got this piece of 18 gauge I've been working on, You see the shape here. I just, it turned out it was a 6-inch wide piece I had, and I just been cutting and piecing and bending and flipping. This lip here is going to weld to the underside of this. Make a gap there. I'll probably drill a couple holes, make a couple spot welds there to spot weld under this. And this is going to get a lot of seam sealer on it because the thing is not going to be fully welded. But neither is the factory piece isn't fully welded. It's got gaps in the factory. I looked at the other side. There's gaps around, so they didn't fully weld that piece either. So I've got it pretty much probably as close as I'm going to get. Get it back in here. It's going to stitch weld along the front of this piece here. I'll put a couple of tacks around here. But then there's going to be more pieces when I do the foot weld that are going to tie into this and brace some of this up. I'm not doing like a perfect restoration like to make it look like factory. I'm trying to get it as close as I can, but I don't want to spend 1,000 hours making a brace on a van that's worth a couple $1,000. That's wasted time. So I'm going to get as close as I can to replicate some of this and put it back together. You know, good enough for who it's for. That's what I like to say. And this will be fine. This brace will be plenty strong, and it'll be pieced back together pretty much close enough. So that's going to weld on the front, and then it's going to be complicated. I'm going to have to like hammer and squeeze it, and wish I didn't have the shadow, and squeeze it and pinch it, but you can see how it's going to pretty much make that brace, and then I can seam seal. Like this is going to be fully welded down here, and I'll weld up these pie cuts, but then I'll tack it along here. That's, whoa, almost lost it. Get in there. And then seam sealed around. All right, well, I got this welded in here. I did a couple stitches across here, a couple of tacks. I'll grind all this down. I got it fully welded all the way around here, even though it's a little nasty looking. I got it. It's close enough. Then on the back side here, I folded the edge over. I got a couple of good stitch welds. It's welded back in here, welded all the way around. I've got to make another piece to fill this in here. They'll plug weld onto here and just plug weld onto here to close the gap up. But it's close enough. You know, it's going to be all hidden under the floor. You're only going to see actually this much of it here because the way the footwell comes in. The footwell comes in there, so you're only going to see just a little bit of it in here, and I'll clean up this edge down here where that hole is. I'll clean it all up and dress it up and smooth this outside out, but the rest will just be underneath the van. So, way more than good enough. Perfect. Nice and strong there now. Got that done, and then I've got my tubing for here. I've got to weld two pieces together because I don't have a long enough piece apparently, but that's fine. I'll just weld that up in there. And then we'll have the brace. This is going to be way, this is going to be strong enough by the time we get all this tied together. Just be as good as it was originally. This is just sheet metal, like a hat-shaped sheet metal plug welded to the, spot welded to the floors. So it'll be as strong as it was originally. And it'll be perfect. It's the next day. I haven't gotten any farther because I changed my mind on my plan of attack here. I was going to go ahead and make this whole floor pan from scratch, but then I found Summit Racing has a supplier that has this whole floor pan from here, including this piece all the way back to here to this brace for $37.99, $38. So I ordered that. So that'll be here in a couple days. So I'm going to get a replacement floor pan, factory floor pan, put right in here. They'll tell me exactly where my brace has got to be for the holes for the seat mount. And it'll have, there's a little bit of complicated action around here on this part. There's a dimple and stuff. So it'll have all that. I can probably tie it in right here. Hopefully it'll reach to this. And then back in here I can get some of these holes here that are in there and replace all that. So I'm just going to wait for that to show up for a day or two. So I guess I'm going to be done working on the floor for now until I get that. I might turn the attention to some of the front action here. I'm going to get the pieces out for the round headlight conversion, start thinking about that. Get them in there. I got some exhaust parts coming. I'm going to build a 3-inch system off the factory exhaust. I'm going to upsize it to 3-inch with a glass pack and poke it out the side. Got some of that coming. I ordered a Ford part here, a Ford smog pump eliminator bracket. I'm going to remove the smog pump there, get rid of the air tubes around this thing without air injection, and work on that. So got a bunch of things I can work on while that floor pan's coming up. So I think I'll end the video here now. I'll wait to get that floor pan, and that'll help out to get that tied in. And then I'll think about starting the round headlight conversion or doing some other stuff. And we'll kick out some more videos on the Ford Boogie van build here. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again right here at the Quick Speed Shop.